Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome back to another podcast, Inside Polling. Happy Monday and happy 7 days to go. I'm sure for some of you that have been waiting for this to be over for the past year. We're getting there. But for the campaign, and I've been on 3 or 4 of them, this is an exciting time. This is the moment you've been waiting for. This is the time that you say, I can't even sleep. Don't ask me to go to the party on Thursday, Friday, Saturday night. It's not happening. I just want a campaign. This is the time. I've been in 3 or 4 campaigns. I remember one of them. Quick story. We had a governor's race, and we got into a campaign bus on Friday night. Did not get off the campaign bus. We had 2 buses. Campaign bus Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and Monday afternoon we got off. 24/7. Sure, we stopped, quick showers, this and that. We hit the road 24/7. If it was 2 o'clock in the morning, diners, rest areas, didn't matter where we were, train stations everywhere. But here's another great hint for you guys who ever want to do a campaign. I went up and down in Connecticut. We have a quarter on 95. The trains run into New York City. I went up and down each coffee shop at the train station and bought the coffee all morning long, put the sticker of the candidate on the coffee cups because I bought them all. And that's what they got handed as they got on. Then went to New York City, Grand Central Station, and ran with the candidate from terminal, because there's, 20, 30, 50, 60 trains heading up from New York City, out of New York City, running from the people greeting them on the way back. Get out to vote. On that day, on election day. I mean, this is a fun time. With that, we've got breaking news. With that, you see the title, Can Harris Still Win? I want to thank, by the way, all of you for joining us on YouTube, X. Love having you guys. Can Harris still win? Quick answer, of course. Yes, this is a 50-50 race. But something's happening with the breaking news. The breaking news is, I don't think Real Clear Politics ever in the past 8 years has ever seen this, which is Trump up in the national vote. It's 0.1, which is a tie, but it says Trump 0.1. Ginormous news for the Trump campaign. No, is it bad news for Harris? Yes. Can she still win? Absolutely. I've been saying it over and over and over again. Nationally, sure. Here's the formula. You ready? You keep the battlegrounds tight. Trump wins an extra 3%, 4% in California, 4 or 5% in New York. All over. Doesn't matter if it's Washington, Oregon, Illinois, all Democrat strong points. Trump then gains in Texas. Trump gains in Florida. Instead of winning by 1.5, he wins by 11. Instead of winning by 4 and 5 and 6 in Texas, it's 10 in Texas. This crisscrosses throughout everywhere, but the battlegrounds stay tight. The women come out to vote in the battleground states, which are showing in the early voting. Yes, Republicans are doing well in their early vote because they're coming out. But who is coming out? Women, 55-45. Are the men going to come up to the polls? So the formula is this. Yes, maybe I'm Harris. Yes, I beat Trump by, let's say nationally, it turns out to be 1.5 in the end. That traditionally over the past 2 elections would not get it done. That's a Trump blowout. That's a Trump win. But yes, I win by 1.5. But I bleed off a bunch of popular vote. Doesn't matter. I then come back and I win those battlegrounds, keep it tight, get the women vote out, and they do what they do, which is the big ground game. Nobody votes like Democrats. Nobody has the ground game like Democrats. I don't care who you are. That's the strong point. Now, who would you rather seat be in? Well, The momentum is sliding. What did we read last week? Right? The polls were, I forget the numbers, 10 out of 12 were going Trump's way. You don't like to see that. And this is what this channel's about, watching the momentum. It's not who's going to win. Who knows? Nobody knows. Nobody's got a clue. Nobody's got a clue what the early voting means. How do you know how independents are voting? It's just a third of the vote. How do you know? Sure, we could poll it. Yeah, Trump is maybe leading the independents, but other polls, Trump's not. But if women are coming out, it's 55-45, right now. We know that. That's a fact. And we know that women vote Democrat. Now, is it black women, which would assist Harris? Is it middle class white women that tend to vote a little more Trump? I mean, these are things that we just don't know. Anybody who's telling you out there, it's just incredible if we pull up YouTube right now, how many people lean either way. And that's why, this show is getting the popular, getting the eyeballs on it that it is. Now, with that, let's talk about how those numbers happened. And let's get into, I'm going to share a few things, but I'm going to run through the polls right now. Now, remember, we've got Saturday, Sunday, and Monday. Okay? Remember, I'm going to tell you what this poll was before, and then I'll tell you what it is now. I will say this. Trump, we mentioned in the last show, heading to Virginia, thinking that possibly, not confirmed, is he going to travel to Minnesota, which, listen, Reagan didn't even win Minnesota. He won every, by the way, for those who are older, look at the 1984 electoral map. Okay, well, Reagan was this, Reagan was that. First of all, Reagan's the most popular president on election day, maybe in history. Every single state, he had a chance to go, Mondale, who he was going against, the Democrat, was from Minnesota. Reagan had a booked trip the night before the election to go to Minnesota, declined it for Mondale's benefit to let him win his home state. Reagan won 40, every single other state except Minnesota. The map, back then, it was flipped the other way, was blue. The map was blue, all Reagan. One state, Minnesota, Mondale. Fascinating stuff. Let's get going, guys. Virginia. Oh, what I was saying was, is Minnesota in play? No. Is Trump thinking about going? Possibly. That's the word on the street. New Mexico, Trump's thinking about going. I've heard rumors that it's booked already. We'll see. Virginia, always thought of as an old school battleground. Who knows? Was there another state that I missed? New Hampshire, of course, we talked about on Friday. And yeah, so Trump trying to expand. Is it possible to sneak in another one? Just one more, right? You wouldn't think of New Hampshire with a few electoral votes would matter. It could. It could. Let's start with Virginia. On cue, as I said that on Virginia on Friday night, Saturday morning, the poll comes out. Harris before, this is a Washington Post poll. Harris was up by 8, is now +6. Very comfortable, if that's the case. Very comfortable. Republicans or Democrats get really excited when they see a possible 4-pointer in there. Because, yeah, is it in the range of a poll? Yeah. The error range? Sure it is. Harris 6 in this Washington Post poll. I'm going to give you what else came out Saturday. We had a national poll through Emerson. Harris was +1, is now a tie. Trump gained 1 point in the national poll through Emerson. We had that generic poll, right? Would you vote Republican or Democrat in your congressional seat? This is an Emerson poll. This was a Dem +3 on the last poll. It's now a tie. Republicans gained 3 points. So here on Saturday after Friday's big day for Trump in the polls, which again shows us probably what happened a week ago on Monday, Tuesday. Here we are on Saturday, which is probably showing, again, Monday, Tuesday of last week, 3 polls, 3 heading Trump's way. Let's move to Sunday. Arizona came out. This was a Trump +2 poll by Trafalgar. Stayed Trump +2. No movement, Arizona. I'll get to the Senate poll in a second in Montana. If you can believe I got a Senate poll for you. Georgia, Trafalgar again, right? What did I say Friday? Geez, where the Republican polls been? Here comes some Republican polls. Trump +1 is now Trump +2 in Georgia. Trump 1, Trump 2. Another game by 1. I've got a few nationals for you. I have 3 of them. CBS had Harris +3 nationally. CBS, Harris +3 nationally before is now Harris +1. A Trump gain by 2 points on CBS. ABC, Harris +2 is now Harris +4. Okay, we had our first Harris poll gaining 2 points nationally. ABC News poll. Harris +2 is now a Harris +4. Good poll for the vice president. I'm going to move to Monday, and I'll come back and hit the Senate seats. Monday, Wisconsin. USA Today has not done a poll. Had Trump up by 1 in Wisconsin. USA Today, Suffolk poll, Trump +1. Pennsylvania, Insider Advantage, right on cue, another Republican poll. Trump +2, down to Trump +1 in Pennsylvania. Trump +1 in Pennsylvania. Michigan, inside, and that's a gain of Harris for 1. It's a second poll for her. Michigan, Trump +2, Insider Advantage to Trump +1. Another drop by 1 in Michigan, Insider Advantage. New York Times, Texas, don't really need to talk about it, but this is where Dems always think, just like Republicans think in certain states. Trump +6 to Trump +10 in New York Times. Trump +10, a gain of 4 points for Trump in Texas. And this goes back to the point I was making. Right? We had a little bit of squeeze here on some other polls. Not many, but a couple. But Texas, boom, another 4 points. Well, another 4 points in Texas is a lot of popular votes. Don't forget, if I get 500,000 more votes in a state, you got 500 less. Right? It goes both ways. So you talk about, hey, there's a 5 million vote difference, a 7 million vote difference. Well, if I start going 500, I just gained 1,000 on you right there. Boom. This is the Harris like Trump had in 16. This is Harris' sneaky way in. This is her path that she has to follow. Hey, I can get beat a little bit here. I can get beat in the popular vote here. I can get crushed in Florida. I can get crushed in Texas. I can get beat up a little bit in New York and still easily win. I get beat up a little bit in California, but still easily win. But he's getting a lot more votes, but not where it matters. Because I'm getting out the vote. That covers the states there. I'm going to get to the Senates. Yep. So let's get to some of the others. Here's an interesting point. Montana has Trump up by 19 points. And you say, what the hell? What the hell are you talking about Montana for? Remember, we got the Senate race there. Sheehy versus Tester. Senator Tester going for his 4th term. Tough out for Republicans there. He's a Democrat holding that Montana seat. And this is the part of the, Manchin gets a lot of my love Because how do you win in a state that Trump's going to win by 20 points and you're a Democrat as a senator on the ticket, on the ticket, Tester on the ticket of Trump. Trump's going to win this by 20 points. And Tester has been holding strong. Now, we haven't had many polls there. This is a seat, the Republicans, they're going to win West Virginia, Manchin seat. This is a seat that they have to have. If the Democrats hold this seat, it is a shocker in some facets, but Tester is a tough out for the Republicans. This poll was Sheehy +2, who's the Republican going against Tester, is now Sheehy +4. So we have seen, this is the latest poll, Sheehy +4 over Senator Democrat Tester. Watch Montana. You won't probably see that till Wednesday morning. But if you're up late on Tuesday into Wednesday, you'll see this. I want to give you that. Let's see what else I have for you on the Senate side. I had the Wisconsin Senate race, a USA Today poll. Remember, we have another Democrat seat. Democrats are trying to hold. USA Today came out with a poll. They did not have a poll before. They're showing the Democrat Baldwin leading by 2. The Democrat leading by 2 in Wisconsin. Okay? It's a good poll for the Democrats as this thing is sliding, and this is the negative side. Yes, Harris has this sneaky little path, but this is devastating. In the House seats, this is devastating. In the Senate seats, this is devastating down ticket. What Harris is doing, slipping in the national poll. While Harris can still slither her way in using a path that Trump used in 2016. Hey, you can whip me, but you can't whip me too far on national. And if I could just sneak my way in, I can get this, this, and that. And he got up the vote in those states. But this is where it's hurting the Democratic Party because of the Harris slippage down ticket. These were not in play 3 weeks ago. These were not in play. I've got a Pennsylvania poll. Insider advantage. Had Casey the Democrat up by 2 before, now has it as a tie. Casey up by 2 before the Democrat trying to hold the seat is now a tie. Senate races. I gave you 10. I started off with that probably 3 weeks ago. I gave you the top 10 seats. I only said probably 3 are in play, realistically in play. It looks like it's 5, 6 in play. Not good news for Democrats. Who wants to stay up and watch now the Senate seats if you're a Democrat? Michigan, insider advantage. Another Democrat seat. Slocum was in the lead by 1, the Democrat. It's now a tie. Insider advantage, Republican polls, but again, another movement towards the Republican or Trump lane. So we saw it in the congressional poll, more towards Trump. We saw Trump still pushing now the national number, Trump pushing states. Yes, there was some 3 in there in Harris, but probably again, 7, 8, 9 polls, 10 polls, including Senate races, again, pushing the Republican way. The momentum has continued. So early voting, just to go over on that, just want to touch on that before I leave you. And I'm going to show you actually, you know what, I'm going to pop a few things up on the screen here for you. You know that TIPP poll that I've shown you, which was Trump in the lead, then Harris in the lead, and then tied up, and it's still tied. I want to show you, this is fascinating. This is what has moved since the beginning. TIPP is doing a poll that has a running average, 7 days that continue to average out every day. The last falls out, a new one comes in. Okay, so they're polling the last 7 days and they're averaging. right? So it just backs off every 7 days. It just continues to move. So it shows you kind of what's been happening. It's not exact, but shows you the range for the past 7 days. Here's what has changed since they started the daily poll. What has moved in the daily poll? So here's the biggest changers. High school degrees have changed 14% towards Trump. The red is Trump. The blue on the bottom is Harris. Black voters have moved 8.1% to Trump. 65 and over has moved 8 points to Trump. Suburban, 5 points. The down south, the voter towards Trump. Male, 3.8%. White, 2.7. Out west, 2.6. Republicans, 2.1, solidifying. Overall, the whole polls moved, 1.8% towards Trump. Harris has gained the most if you've gone to some college, she's gained 6.3 points that way. Independents, 5 points. Rural, 3.1. 45 to 64 years old, only 1.8% change. Northeast has, which she doesn't care about, 0.8. Female voter, just incredibly important, 0.5%. Democrats have solidified by 0.4. College degree or more, just a 0.3 gain. Urban has been flat. So the movement, high school degrees, strong point for Trump, has solidified black voters. If that holds, it's devastating news. Another 8-point slide for the Democrats as they start to lose black voters and Hispanic voters. Right? So Hispanic voters have slid every election towards Republicans slightly, and black voters have started to bleed a little bit. Well, you say, what's the difference of 2-3% or 4% of the black vote? Well, it means a lot in the Georgias of the world, even in North Carolina, in certain states like Michigan, a little bit of Wisconsin with Milwaukee. Everything matters. I'm just going to show you. I have a little bit more data on Wisconsin and Pennsylvania. Wisconsin, and I just want to make sure if we don't rely on 538 so much. Real Clear so much. Well, here's Wisconsin. These are odds on the screen that you see right now. These are the odds. This is not polling numbers. What's the probability that this person's going to win? Here's Wisconsin, the toughest state in my mind for Trump to win. If he ever wins Wisconsin and the numbers are out early, it's over. It's over. This one is the toughest. 538 has Harris winning 51% of the chance on odds. The Hill has Trump winning 53%. JHK forecast has Trump winning 51% of the time. Race to the White House has Harris should win 56% of the time. Split ticket also has Harris in the lead at 54% on odds. The average when you put them out, 51% for Harris, 49% for Trump, and I believe these numbers. And that's why, listen, this is what 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and what's Real Clear? Wisconsin Real Clear is Trump 0.3. Okay. Let's get you Pennsylvania. I'll read it to you. The ones who can't read it. Pennsylvania. I'll just give you Real Clear first, which is not on the screen. Pennsylvania, where are you? Trump 0.5. Okay. 538 has it 54% for Trump. This is Pennsylvania. The Hill has 52% for Trump. JHK has it 56% for Trump. Race to the White House has Harris winning 55%. Split ticket has Harris winning 53%. What's the average? About a 50-50, 51 for Trump. And I just read you Real Clear. This is Trump 0.5. Here's the odds. National. This is just to win. That was wrong of me there. This is to win. What are the odds? Who's going to win this race? National, as you know, I have Real Clear at Trump 0.1. 538 has Trump winning the election, 54%. The Hill, 53%. JHK, 53%. Race to the White House, Harris, 52. Split ticket, 53. This has this at 51-49. I think I read you 50-50 last week. So the momentum is shifting. But again, when we roll a dice 100 times, you don't know who's going to win this race. Harris is getting squeezed, though. She's getting squeezed on her opportunities. With that, let's shoot up the Senate races. This is really small for you, so I'll read them out to you. These are the Senate races. Democrat, Brown, leading by 1% in the polls, 1.0. Pennsylvania, Democrat, Casey, 1.4 up. Wisconsin, Democrat, Baldwin, also holding that seat at 1.0%. Okay, so that's 3 Democrat holds. Michigan, a Democrat seat, Sluckin winning there, 2.9%. That's not bad. That's sitting at about 3%. It's about where you want to be in a tight race. A lot's got to happen for Rogers, the Republican, to try to take that seat. That's 4 in a row. Montana, Sheehy down to 6.5%. The Republican trying to take a Democrat seat in Montana. Nevada, Rosen sitting comfortably, Democrat, 4.9% up. Galago, it's going to win Arizona, going to crush Lake out there. Democrat seat, going to stay a Democrat seat. Texas, Cruz, which is a Republican seat, is sitting at a 4.2 lead. So if you look at this, Democrat hold, 1%. Democrat hold, 1.4%. Democrat hold, 1%. And then the numbers get bigger for the Democrats. And then we have the Republicans sitting in Montana and Cruz in Texas. And of course, again, West Virginia is going to flip. Democrat to Republican. That's 1 seat for the Republican. Republicans need 2 seats. Let's do the last, which is the average on a national, on some states. Pennsylvania, these are in the polls. This is the averages. Trump, 0.5. North Carolina, Trump, 0.8. Georgia, 2.3%. Looks more and more like Trump is solidifying Georgia. Arizona, Trump, 1.5. Wisconsin, 0.3 for Trump. Michigan, Trump, 0.1. Nevada, Trump, 0.7. Trump clean sweep on the battlegrounds, but we're talking no points here. Pennsylvania is a tie. North Carolina is basically a tie. These are under 1%. Wisconsin, 0.3. Michigan, 0.1. Nevada, 0.7. Arizona is 1.5. The only state that it seems like Trump is holding on is Georgia at 2.3. Any variation of the polls, 2%, 5%, 7%, which is, what's the average? They're all usually off by about 4%. That's going to be the difference. Who's getting out the vote? Who's voting? Early voting. The surprise is out in Nevada with the Republicans still leading by about 5 percentage points. Think about that. Republicans leading by 5 percentage points in Nevada. It's about 32,000 votes they're in the lead by on early voting. The Republicans. This is the Democrat. Republican has not won in Nevada. Trump has never won in Nevada. 16 or 20. That would be a devastating loss. But again, I think Harris has left Nevada out to dry out there. They are gambling in Arizona and Nevada. They are gambling, the Democrats, on their strategy. North Carolina, last time I chatted with you, I think that it was about a tie. The Republicans have about a 1.3 percentage lead on the early votes. Again, we don't know how they're voting. These are just telling us that Republicans have filled out the ballot or have walked in and done early voting. So just slightly, only 1.3 percentage more Republicans have voted in North Carolina. What is interesting, which we talked about last week, 893,000 Republicans, 861,000 Democrats, and 839,000 independents. Basically all the same in North Carolina. That's what's great about voting. New Hampshire, we mentioned it. 39% of the people that have come out on early voting have been Democrats, 33% Republicans, 28% of independents. We have no clue how they're voting, but that's showing about a 6% lead, Democrats to Republicans, of who's come out to vote. That covers kind of the early voting. Some of the other states, Democrats continue to dominate in Pennsylvania. About 600,000 more votes there. So they are out to a big lead there in Pennsylvania. So we're caught up on national. We're caught up on the state averages. We're caught up on early voting. We've looked at some of the changes of how people voted. We've looked at the path of Harris narrowing. She only can win now with spreading the popular vote around and hitting these battleground states. And of course, I think tomorrow we're going to break out the map and we're going to look at her opportunities and her chances and Trump's too, and why Trump's widening, trying to find other states. If the popular vote, he thought, trust me, he thought he was going to lose the popular vote by 2.5%, 2.2%. Remember, he lost by 2 and change in 16, 4 and change in 20. Well, now he reverses back and probably thought he was going to lose by 2% this time around. But now if it's going to be close to even, if that's true, all the polls are saying it, but if that's true, well, that does open other states up all of a sudden. Those states that you're losing by 6, could we sneak in? I don't know. So tomorrow we're going to break out the map. We're going to go state by state, who's opening what the path is for Harris, what the path is for Trump. You're all caught up in the breaking news today. Trump takes the national lead 0.1, basically a tie, but it is news. With that, guys, we will see you soon. I appreciate you hanging with me, and I'll catch you tomorrow, and have a good day tonight. If anything breaks, I'll actually be right back on this week. I'll be ready at all times. If the polls, all of a sudden we get a massive amount of polls, I'll even do a quick short and jump right on here. Okay, guys? We'll talk to you soon. Love you. You can take care.